Hey, how's it going, everyone? GC Performance here, back with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys what exactly you pay for when paying for a $60 tune-up. I have here a customer's bike. This is a 2020 Specialized Venge Pro, and these are the customers I like because they actually ride their bike. He bought this bike for the sole purpose of getting out there and getting some exercise on it. He doesn't train, he doesn't race. He bought it because he has the income for it, and he just wanted a fast bike that he can actually enjoy and ride. As you can see, he did some customizations with the seat, which we're swapping out the saddle. I'm putting a new saddle on there. And he has his phone out on there, but the bike is beat right now. So we have different forms of tune-ups that we charge at a bike store. Every bike store probably different in this matter, but we have two tune-ups. We have a $60 tune-up, which is pretty much just like a wash, a wipe down. We'll wipe down the frame. We'll wash the bike off with some of the grease on the cassette, the chain. We don't actually remove anything of the cassette or chain. That's the other tune-up. We'll check the true of the wheels. We'll check to make sure that they're trued up right. We'll readjust the gears and readjust the brakes. Now also, this customer is going to be replacing the tape, which we picked up some new tape as well. That is an extra charge that's not included in the tune-up. And we got new tires and tubes going on here as well, which that is an extra charge as well to put on the tires and tubes for mounting purposes. But then also we offer another tune-up for $150, where that is our major tune-up, where we actually remove the chain, the cassette off the bike, we remove the crank, we check the bottom bracket. If it's an older bike with cables and housings, we replace the cables and housings for free as well. We check the bearings inside the hub. That's $150. And then also we clean the bike, re-lube it, make sure everything's shifting good. But this one is just gonna be, he wants it just running efficiently. The $60 tune-up will make that work. We'll make sure the chain is good, we'll make sure the cassette is good, we'll degrease it. We'll wipe down his frame, make sure his wheels are running efficiently, and it basically gets your bike in working order. So I'm gonna take you guys along the process of it and show you guys what your $60 gets you when coming to a bicycle shop for a tune-up. On top of, obviously, extra things, like I said, we're changing on the seat, we're changing bar tape, and I'll give you guys a final breakdown of the price of everything you paid for. So without further ado, we'll get into it. Tires we're replacing for are Pirellis, tape we're going to SUPACAZ, and saddle, I think we chose I forget, but I'll show you guys. Sounds good? Cool. First and foremost, let's go. All right, first and foremost, I'm gonna put the chain back onto the front crank to get it ready for a proper whoosh. And then I'm going to remove the chain guard in the back here as well, because God knows why it's on there. So give me 1 second. Yeah. Remove it. 6 mil out. Wheel comes out next. So main goal to remove this, I'm not even going to take off the cassette. I'm just going to leave the body on there. Pull it off from a DT Swiss hub. We want to remove the plastic piece from behind the wheel to make sure that this is never on there again. And we can see this is heavily greased with some kind of thick lube. But this stuff will all come off. And then we're going to make sure everything's back aligned there with the spring inside there. Line back onto the hub. Rock out there, and then we hit it again with the cap. Now the wheel is ready to go back on the bike. Now before I take you guys outside with me to clean this bike, I want you guys to notice something. When I pedal this, there's a stiff link inside of here. So you see right there. Let me see if I can zoom in on that one. So right here. Now obviously this is not announced. Right there. It says called that popping. So when you spin it up. So we're gonna go ahead and degrease it. I'm gonna try and work it into place to make sure that link is no longer stiff. I think it's just from sitting for a while, but I'll make sure I'll get it out. It's gonna be the same thing. Also, for any kind of tune-up where we're gonna be wiping down the bike, I want to make sure I remove all the cages and accessories, so that way we get under there as well. That way we clean all the dirt and gunk on there. We do this every time. Agua. Machine. Alright, so we got our MUCOFF pressure wash hooked on. I got some MUCOFF pink spray. I'm just gonna spray this whole bike down. Obviously it's been through a lot, it's been neglected. So I'm just gonna get this whole thing. Just basically, you can hook this up with a MUCOFF as well for the foam. But I just prefer on here. And then after I clean this off and get all this gunk off it, I take it inside and give it a whole wipe down of everything. Man, that bike's been used and abused, man. And also in the back. Just agitate it a little bit, you know? Agitate whatever kind of gunk that is. It almost feels like motor oil. I got some degreaser I'm gonna use too on there. But, all right, time to wash. Time to give her a good old-fashioned wash down. Make sure whenever you're washing as well, the water pressure is not a direct stream. You don't want to be spraying it at a direct stream in those areas. And as you can tell, I kind of spray further away to the bike. I don't want a direct sharp stream at the bottom bracket area, at your head tube angles. Yes, these companies always claim that this stuff is sealed, but it's not 100%. You're gonna get water in there no matter what. But all right, mate. Now lift up her little belly. I'll get her underside. A lot of people forget about the underside. That's where I thrive, is the underside. Good old fashioned wash down. Now she's all washed up. Let's get up in there. She's all washed up. I'm gonna spray this thing down with some degreaser on the back chain and kind of work in there for a little bit so you guys can see. And be mindful when spraying. The pink MUCOFF spray that I've used it on countless bikes, on disc brakes and stuff like that. I haven't had any contamination with it. It's a really good cleaner. But in terms of degreaser and work on the chain and cassette when you get in there, that's when you have to be really, really careful about what you put on the rear cassette. Because you can see whatever he used on this kind of chain ring here, it's very thick. There's a big cake on there. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and sit on there and clean down and wipe it down for a while. But I'll get it in there and we'll make it look better. So give me a couple minutes, I'll be right back. All right, so in perfect YouTube fashion, my iPhone was out there in the hot sun in Florida and it shut off. So it looks like a cut, but I swear I literally blew it off with the pressure washer and it looks much better. Now I'm going to take off the wheels, remove it, and then start cleaning the frame up. All right, so I removed the wheels so that way I can have better access to the frame for wiping it down. Also, after I kind of wash through anything, I'll take MO94, like a spray aerosol lube, and I'll touch on all the components to make sure that they don't corrode. Because that's, like I said, it's a big problem here in South Florida. A lot of corrosion happens. So I just want to make sure everything I spray with water, I re-hit with lubricant because of the fact that we don't want any corrosion. So this is the type of lubricant I use. MUCOFF MO94. I'll literally spray this on your derailleurs. Any kind of pivot point that can actually happen with a derailleur. I had the spring in the back as well. I had the pulley wheels. And I'll go to the front derailleur as well. I'll spray connection points here, here, here. And I'll re-lube everything before I wipe down the bike because I don't obviously want to clean out everything. And once it's sprayed on there, I'll kind of go to it like so, kind of just wipe it through. And the reason for it is, like I said, you don't want that water to dry up in there. We use degreaser, we use cleaner, we use frame cleaner. We don't want that water to kind of sit on there and dry through. So I'll even take it, shift up and down to work into those spaces that we can. Then go back to here. That's my AC, guys, by the way. Sorry about that. Work it to right here. Boom. And we just want to make sure it's all good. Then I'll take this right here, clean out the front. Just wipe down the front derailleur. Give it a nice old, you know, make it look nice. Like they're paying for something. Alright, so we went ahead and touched up on the frame. Just did some, you know, some frame polish on there, wiped it down, make it look a little better. We'll touch up after we're all done as well. We got off some of the chain lube, some of the front derailleur as well. We wiped down some of that stuff. And now we removed the handlebar tape and we're gonna rewrap that with some SUPACAZ tape right here. I also take like a clean rag with no kind of lube or nothing like that and just go on that brake caliper right there and kind of clean off the excess, maybe brake dust, maybe if any kind of excess water left over there, but kind of get on there to make sure that it just looks really clean. And make sure that there's nothing really, you want to make sure it just kind of cleans up nicer. Beautiful tape job, SUPACAZ wrap all the way down. Nice plug. Alright, so I use Bike Protect on a lot of the frames here for cleaning. Especially on matte paint jobs, it just makes it look a lot cleaner. You can use a silicone spray, you can use Bike Lust I've used before. I'll just take some of this onto a rag. You don't want to spray this because I overspray. Spray there. Onto the rag like so. We walk it over to the bike. See, like this frame right here. We just make it look right here. See that? And you can actually see, it's like almost instant gratification because you actually see where the parts that were dirty at and you can re-shine it. Now I'm looking through it with a foam. I'm not about to detail it up more, but you can actually see a definitely clear idea. And this is what you want to do after you hose on your bike. You want to make sure you go over it with some kind of UV protect. Because like I said, that water, once you wash it with these kind of strong chemicals, if you don't wipe it down, that's what can actually discolor your matte frame paint job. You can use it on handlebars as well too. Boom. All right, so we took off the GP5000. You can see there's a bunch of residue on this rim. We're going to grease that rim off, and also we're installing on the brand new Pirelli tires, the P0 race. We already have them installed on the front, and then we'll go around and clean up the rims themselves. Actually, tape is installed, new saddles installed, the frame is getting installed, and then we have to check the drivetrain as well in the back. All right, so we're adding on to here a mount underneath the seat. All Specialized have this little mount place where you can actually put on. This is going to be the water bottle attachment, so he wants to run a water bottle for the rear as well to make it a little bit more of a better aesthetic place for his hands. But the bike is coming along, and I'll show you guys the final result of the tune-up once we're done. We still have to lube the gears, go over everything. I'm going to get that kink out of that chain, and I'll show you guys how to do that. We have the stem up right here. Make sure we get all this kind of see how that white residue is right there? That's from the water just sitting there and not being wiped down. So we go on this side. Make sure we go this. Now this is a perfect example of, again, south floor with corrosion on there. So I'm gonna hit those bolts with a spray. All right, so I'm gonna go and get inside the hub now as well, or not inside the hub, but see how the outer hub shell has some of the you know, residue from the water on there, like right there on the side. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna spray. It's got some bike rust. This is again pretty hard with one hand, but it's basically this. Coming inside. Yeah. Pull your hand out, rotate the wheel. And just get your fingers in there, yeah? You guys can see. So make sure you get all the top of that and try and give it a little once over, like a little wipe. All right, so on the back wheel, remember we had that kind of grease on there? We used a Bike Protect, ripped off all that kind of excess of like that mildew, or not the mildew, just like that caked up lube. Kind of sprayed down, just wiped down there. Be careful again on the rotors, but it came out very nice. The bike frame, we're getting ready to finish up and wipe all this stuff down. But the bike is looking good. We're gonna hit the front wheel, and then I'll do a full overview of what it looks like outside. All right, so the bike's all finished. Last part of the bike is I'm gonna go ahead and lube the chain up. Before, it had a stiff link inside there. But after the cleaning, the process of degreasing, everything like that, like I said, it was just from sitting for a while, so that lube got caked on there. So we just went ahead and just worked it in. If you ever do run into a stiff link, that's not too bad. You can kind of sit here, let's say this one's stiff link, you can just rock it back and forth, spray some like penetrating lube in there, rock it back and forth and go up and down, and it usually breaks away that stiff link. But now the final job is just to go ahead and lube it and you'll be all set. All right, so we're gonna use MUCOFF C3 ceramic lube dry. I'm just gonna basically put it on the chain right here. Just one full rotation on there. And then after that, we're gonna shift it up and down like cassette, kind of work it all the way in. Taking our time, going up and down each one. The last thing to do is I give you this little black light to cure it. Kind of make this kind of harden up, like flash it. And that's it. Okay, so this is the finished product of the full basic tune-up of $60. This is what $60 gets you. Obviously, the customer did some different things with changing on tape to make it look a little bit newer and putting on brand new tires as well. That is besides the point of the cost. But the frame cleaning, as you guys can tell, there's barely any kind of dirt on there anymore. We went and washed it. We degreased the front derailleur as well and degreased the rear derailleur and sprayed on cassette and chain. Now, if you were to do the $150 tune-up where we take off your chain, remove the cassette, put it into an ultrasonic cleaner, then obviously more of this stuff will come off. But the customer opted not to do that right now. The chain still works well. It was well lubed. It was actually overly lubed with some kind of, I would probably guess some kind of like strong commercial vehicle lube. Like you can even see on the chain ring still, they're greased up pretty good. But I will never know this because majority of you customers, whenever I ask you what kind of lube you guys use, you guys don't tell me, you look me right in the face, and you lie to me. So I just assume it's the worst, and I just degrease the best I can, but this chain rings definitely need to be a little bit more cleaned up, but you can see it's just a heavy caked up residue. But like I said, degrease the chain, re-lubed it, put on some actual bike lube on the back, like I said as well. Everything's shifting well. There's no more corrosion on the springs as well for the pivot points and where the rivets were, where they turn at for the derailleurs. We cleaned up the derailleur in the back too, but the bike came out really, really nice. Put on a new saddle, still have the phone mount intact, but the bike is in tip-top shape. We put on the other cage as well. But yes, so this would be $60 of what a cleanup is when you bring your bike to tune-up. Sorry it took 2 days to film. You know, I still work here. I'm still doing videos while I'm working the clock. So customers came in, I got busy yesterday, and then we just finished up today. But basically, wipe down the frame, keep chain cassette on, degrease it. We took off the geek guard, cleaned the wheels, lubed up the derailleurs, lubed up the rear derailleur, and you're good to go. That's 60 bucks at a tune-up at a bicycle store. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.